It's the holiday season. You're looking forward to having your whole family shoved into the guest room at your in-laws' house. Good luck sleeping. If sleep is already a challenge for your toddler when you're at home, then the holiday season can pose some real difficulties. And I don't want this whole season to ruin your kids' sleep. So here are my top 5 holiday sleep tips for toddlers. I'm going to walk you through my top 5 sleep tips today, but I've also added another 5 sleep tips into a free download called 10 Holiday Sleep Tips for Toddlers. You can download that from the description below. There's one very accurate saying about being the parent of a toddler or preschool-age child, and that's give an inch and they'll take a mile. So my number 1 sleep tip for the holidays is don't start any bad sleep habits. If you take away nothing else from this video today, remember that. Let me give you a couple examples. Let's say you're staying at your in-laws' house and you decide to prevent a bedtime meltdown, you're just going to lay with your kid until they fall asleep, which is something that you never do at home. Or let's say you have some family staying with you and your child wakes up in the middle of the night. And even though you never normally do this, you decide to bring them in bed with you to prevent them from waking anybody else in the house up. In either of these examples, you're really setting yourself up to have a tough time when you get home and life gets back to normal, because even one night of a different response from you or a different sleep situation happening for your child, it can easily kind of reset their expectations and become their new normal. And let's say you end up responding in this way or sleeping like this for, more than one night. Maybe it's a few nights, maybe it's a week. It's just really reinforcing those new bad habits, and that's not what you want to do. Developing some bad sleep habits over the holidays can really make re-entry into normal life very difficult. And that's one of the main reasons why my phone is ringing off the hook in January with exhausted parents looking for answers and thinking, how do we ever get in this situation? So my best advice to you is don't start any bad sleep habits over the holidays. All right, number 2, prioritize sleep. Would you leave the house right before lunchtime to take your kiddo to the playground with no plan on how to feed them lunch? Well, no, you would never do that, because you know that when your child is hangry, they're kind of evil and they get in a bad mood and they're not their best selves and they're not going to have any fun. Well, I want you to think about sleep the same way. After all, sleep is one of your child's basic biological needs. It's just as important as food. A well-rested kid is a happy kid. When kids get enough sleep, they're in better moods, they're more agreeable, they're better listeners, and these are all things that we want for our kids, especially during the holidays. So if you know that your child needs a nap, plan for it. Schedule activities during the day around the nap, or leave your child sleeping at home with grandpa. Now, if you know that your toddler behaves better and is just a better version of herself when she gets a full night of sleep, prioritize her bedtime. And, if she has a super crazy busy day or skips a nap, she may need to go to bed even a little bit earlier. And if she needs to stay up late one night, then try to put her to bed earlier the next night or even plan for a nap that next day. I want you to plan ahead for her sleep needs, just like you would plan ahead for her meals. And when she sleeps well, like if you're traveling or if you've got people staying with you, then lay on the praise the next day. Have everybody lay on the praise. Let her brag on herself. Let her really be the center of attention. Let everyone be so proud of her for being such a good sleeper. When you plan ahead for the sleep that you know your kids will need, everybody will thank you. Number 3, keep sleep spaces separate, even when room sharing. If your child has their own room at home, try to think about simulating that, even if you're forced to share a room. Now, I know this can be tough, but just think about trying to keep their sleep space separate from yours. If you're staying in a hotel, you could see if you can find a hotel that has a pull-out sofa they could sleep on. Or you can ask the hotel if they have a roll-away cot that they'll bring into the room. Sometimes they're free, sometimes there's a small additional fee, but it's worth it. If you're at a hotel or at a relative's house and an official bed isn't an option, then try making your child a pallet on the floor. You could use some couch cushions and a blanket or a sleeping bag, or you could even bring a blow-up pool float and use that as a toddler mattress on the floor. Now, if you travel a lot or you're planning to be gone on a long trip, you might want to actually invest in an inflatable toddler bed or a portable toddler cot that you can take with you. I'll link to some options from Amazon below in the description. You could also bring one of those packable little kids play tents or even a little teepee so they can have their own little sleep space and it's cozy and dark. And remember, if you make it seem cool, then your kids are going to think it's cool too. If your child is going to be sleeping like this, try having them sleep a night or two in their own room like this so that when you get where you're going, it's not so totally new. All right, number 4, get on the same page with your spouse before you leave or before your house guests arrive. I want you to talk about things like, where will your child sleep? How are you going to handle bedtime? What's going to happen if they wake up in the middle of the night? Are you willing to let them sleep with you in the bed? Who's going to run point on making decisions? Are you guys going to switch off nights, or how are you going to handle that? I don't want you to leave these questions up to chance. Because arguing with your partner in the middle of the night while trying to get your kid to go back to bed and not wake up anybody else in the house is not fun. So plan ahead. Number 5, get back on track quickly. Once you get home and normal life resumes, get your child's sleep back on track as quickly as possible. And if the sleep routine changed while you were gone, or you started dabbling in some bad sleep habits that you didn't mean to, but life is life and you just ended up doing some things that you don't want to bring home with you, then talk to your child about it. Something like, I know that you slept in mommy and daddy's bed when we were at grandma's, and that's just how we sleep sometimes when we're at grandma's house, but we're home now and everybody sleeps in their own bed at home, just like we always do. And it's great to even have this type of conversation beforehand. If you know the sleep situation is going to be really different when you're traveling, go ahead and prep your child for how it's going to be different when you're gone, but that you expect for everything to be the same when you come home. And don't be afraid to offer some rewards to help your kid get back on track once you get home. I put these 5 tips plus 5 more tips in my free download, 10 Holiday Sleep Tips for Toddlers. The link is in the description. Happy holidays.